Austin, Texas, followed suit Thursday. It joined cities, including San Francisco, Seattle, and Denver, that had previously booted Columbus in favor of Indigenous Peoples Day. But the gesture to recognize indigenous people rather than the man who opened the Americas to European domination has also prompted howls of outrage from some Italian Americans, who say eliminating their festival of ethnic pride is culturally insensitive, too. "We had a very difficult time in this country for well over 100 years, said Basil Russo, president of the Order Italian Sons and Daughters of America. "Columbus Day is a day that we've chosen to celebrate who we are. And we're entitled to do that just as they are entitled to celebrate who they are. It's not about taking anything away from Italian Americans," said Cliff Matthias, cultural director of the Red Hawk Native American Arts Council, which is hosting a Rethinking Columbus Day event Sunday and Monday in New York City. "The conversation is Columbus," he said. "If they are going to celebrate Columbus, we need to celebrate the fact that we survived Columbus. The debate over Columbus' historical legacy is an old one, but it became emotionally charged after a similar debate in the South over monuments to Confederate generals flared into deadly violence in August at a rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. In Akron, Ohio, a September vote over whether to dump Columbus opened a racial rift on the city council that was so heated, conflict mediators were brought in to soothe tensions. In New York City, where 35,000 people are expected to march in Monday's Columbus Day parade, vandals last month doused the hands of a Christopher Columbus statue in blood-red paint and scrawled the words "Hate will not be tolerated." Many Italians who migrated to the U.S. initially had a rough time. In 1891, 11 Italians were lynched in New Orleans by a mob that held them responsible for the death of a local police official. Indigenous Peoples Day began to gel as an idea in advance of the 500th anniversary of Columbus' first voyage to the Americas. South Dakota began celebrating Native American Day on the second Monday of October in 1990. Berkeley, California, got rid of Columbus Day in favor of Indigenous Peoples Day in 1992. Many places that have adopted Indigenous Peoples Day since then, including Alaska, have sizable Native American populations. A few cities have compromised. Salt Lake City officials declared Tuesday that they would keep Columbus Day but celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day on the same day. In Akron, a city with few Native Americans and a large Italian American community, an attempt to rename Columbus Day as Indigenous Peoples Day on September 11 split the all-Democrat city council along racial lines. 5 black members voted to rename the holiday and 8 white members voted against it, following a debate that devolved into shouting. But Councilman Jeff Fusco, who is Italian American, said, "It's a celebration of Italian heritage. It's very similar to other days throughout the year that we celebrate for many other cultures. States and municipalities aren't legally bound to recognize federal holidays, though most do. Columbus Day is already one of the most inconsistently celebrated. Places that choose to replace it with Indigenous Peoples Day may give their own workers or school children a day off, teach in schools about Native Americans instead of Columbus, issue proclamations, or mark it in other ways. There is no question that Columbus' arrival in the New World under the sponsorship of Spain was bad for the indigenous people of Hispaniola, the island he colonized that is now split between Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Many of the native people of the island were forced into servitude. Multitudes died of disease. Spain repopulated the workforce with African slaves. Columbus is celebrated in Latin America, too. A massive monument to the explorer, the Columbus Lighthouse, opened in 1992 in Santo Domingo, in the Dominican Republic. Puerto Rico commemorates Discovery Day on November 19, marking the day Columbus landed there. Ralph Aurelians, chairman of the activist group Hispano Roundtable of New Mexico, said that as a Hispanic, he supports Columbus Day. It was the marriage of two peoples creating a new people, in a new land, he said. Though Columbus wasn't a saint, he said, he believes Anglo-Americans like President Andrew Jackson should be held more responsible than the Spanish for the hardships Native Americans faced. Arellanes also said he doesn't understand why Italians claim Columbus for themselves when Columbus was sailing for Spain.